Okay, so here we are.
So it cannot end up differently simply
Then a
because the
disappointment.
expectation is that you, by being in a relationship with me, will provide the safety that I need.
Yes.
And ultimately, that's never going to work.
It cannot work.
Because you cannot do that for me.
First of all, that's totally clear. If we are clear, we have reached a lot when we are clear that I'm not here to make you happy.
Yeah, or to make me safe.
Or to make you safe.
Yes.
And you're not here to make me happy and feel safe. So, I mean, when we come to that point, and to that honesty, it is core breaking. I mean, let us quickly just tune into that vibration that we're letting each other finally be. Because as long as there's a tiny little bit of getting involved in each other's happiness and security and safety, we're going to have a relationship. We try to work it out, and we'll disappoint each other because we cannot provide this to each other. We're promising something, even unconsciously, that we need to break. That promise we can never deliver.
Well, it's like, ooh.
Ooh, exactly. That's a moment
that
of
hurts.
ooh.
That really, really hurts because it's like, what happened to hope?
Exactly. That's the end of hope.
The end of hope
Fantastic.
with you, the end of hope with another, the end of hope with...
So, let's just stay with this. Because there is an ooh, it's like ooh, that is because we start to see the truth of how our system learned to be in life, which is basically looking for security at any cost, because our body demands safety.
Say more about that. What do you mean that our body demands safety?
Okay, fantastic. Okay, so here we go. So now we have to go a little deeper into the neuronal structure and what's happening in us. If you look at babies, how they, if you, I don't know if you're a mother, but if you see how babies function, their whole nervous system and the way they move is very integrated. It's like it feels like whole, one. You know, when you see them, when you lay on the back and how they twist around their tailbone and move, it feels like this is like one clump of aliveness, and they can take the foot and put it in their mouth and just put it like this. There's no sense of separation. They're enjoying themselves. You know this?
They're just being.
They are and enjoying themselves without even being aware of it.
Yes.
And in the course of how we live in life, what happens is that through a certain impact of energy, which the nervous system could not digest and integrate or process, gradually neuronal connections in our nervous system cut off.
Right.
So the inner circuit of the system moves from association, connection, so everything is interconnected, to being partly disconnected. Depending on the degree of how much energy the system had to digest, depending, for example, physical violence.
Okay.
Like when you beat a child, for the perspective of the nervous system, this is a tremendous threat and a tremendous shock.
Okay.
So depending, or like the baby is happy and the mother yells at the child.
Right.
Or the father comes in and is angry, doesn't have to do with the child, and the child hears that tremendous energy because the nervous system, as we said, feels everything around it.
Sure.
It doesn't need necessarily to be directed to the child, but it just is picked up.
Right.
What's happening when the nervous system doesn't know what is happening, it goes into a kind, it's overwhelmed, and neuronal connections are cut. And the system moves from association to dissociation.
Okay.
So I think before we had the interview, we were speaking about, imagine you have a big cable of electricity, where there's a lot of energy flowing in. Electricity is energy flowing in the cable, and you cut that cable, the energy doesn't stop flowing. What's happening, you have two loose ends now jumping wildly around. Have you seen those pictures?
Yes, yes.
You know, it's like, you know, just like this. So you have to understand, in most of our nervous systems, we have tremendous amounts of loose ends that have been created in the moment of shock, overwhelm. And it doesn't need much to disconnect. So if you're together, if you're happy, and your partner comes in and is angry, and you feel connected, it just needs a harsh word, and your system already disconnects. You know this?
Yes.
It's exactly that.
Yes.
So suddenly you have a bunch of loose ends inside your circuit, and what's happening now? as there's so much energy, pain energy, they're jumping around, and all they're doing, they're looking for the counterpart now.
Okay.
Because what the system wants, it wants to move back to association.
Right.
Which means reconnect.
Mm-hmm.
But as there's so much energy in the cables, the inner loose ends jumping around, what's happening, our whole system looks in the outside for the corresponding loose end. Just get this.
Yeah.
It is nothing we do consciously. To the degree of how dissociated and disconnected our system is inside,
Yes.
by shock, we are looking through security, which is, where is my corresponding loose end? Where's the other part that fits to that other loose end? We're looking at it the outside. Never finding it. That's why relating is so frustrating.
Right, okay.
Because it ends up, where the hell is my other part?
And can we say then that to the degree of disconnection that we have, we are looking for partners with a similar kind of degree of disconnect?
Fantastic.
And therefore, those relationships are doomed to not work because of that degree of disassociation within oneself.
Exactly. So we always meet partners that reflect 100% the level of maturity or integration or connection that we have.
Okay.
Because it's like the loose ends sending out signals,
right,
and other signals who are vibrating with the same hope, maybe this one is my loose end, connect and say, and then there may be, like, if you break like a piece of wood and fit it together, you can twist it around, and there's some spots where you meet, but it's not really matching. So we are so happy with it. There's a little bit and there's a little bit, but there's a lot of gaps in between. So what we're doing, we now try to fix. We try to make it work that one loose end that has apparently found another loose end, though it is not the right one, how can we match them together? It's like trying to make a surgery of two things that don't belong together. They will always be unstable, and it will always be a lot of fear, because you know already that this is not the corresponding connection part. It is not. So we live on fear, and we start working on our relationship.
Yeah.
You know this?
It's classic, isn't it?
The classic. And what's happening in the inside? It is already pre-programmed that we're going to end up in resignation and frustration because it is not the fitting part.
Okay.
So now what's happening is, after a few attempts of trying to find the corresponding partner, which is basically, where is my loose end, says the nervous system, where is my other part, we start to see, okay, that's obviously not working. And now what most people do, they turn inside and become psychological.
Right.
And what they do, they try to willingly take one loose end, take another loose end, and try to see if they match.
Okay.
They're trying to fix themselves inside. You know this?
Yeah, you fix not only yourself inside, but you try to fix the other as well.
Yes, because you say, I see clearly what's missing, and I see, and you claim that you see where the other loose end is in the person, and I'm going to help you to bring it together. But now, imagine, do you really know? I mean, can we possibly know? Do you have any memory, any evidence that you know when you take one disintegration part where the other part is? You have no clue. The only thing, or the only intelligence that you find, is that your body remembers this.
Right.
Because the body moved from association, the nervous system is part of the body, to dissociation.
Yes.
And in the loose ends, there's the memory, the cellular memory stored, that knows exactly when it meets the corresponding other part. And this is when they meet, they reconnect, and that's what even the neuroscientists found out, that neural connection that have been destroyed can reconnect.
Okay.
They just find each other. They don't find each other by try and error. They find each other because there's a memory of it.
Yes.
And in a way, to the degree we can let our body, let's say, do the job and take our hands off, the system starts to reconnect in the inside.